Hi, this is Anthony Gadd from Synergex Support. In this video I will be going over a sample application in C#.NET using KitaroDB. KitaroDB is a fast, efficient, and scalable NoSQL database. KitaroDB has an easy-to-use interface, a proven commercial database system, support of large sector drives, low footprint, durability as on-disk data store, high performance, capable of handling tens of thousands of operations per second, asynchronous and synchronous operations, and a storage limit of 256 terabytes. In this example, we will be using the KeyValue functionality in KitaroDB. We will be interacting with a database of colleges. The class will be called School, and we will store these objects in the KitaroDB with the value being the school ID. We're going to convert these objects to strings in order to store them. This is accomplished using JSON, which is a data format. There are many JSON libraries to accomplish this, and in this example we will be using a library made by Newtonsoft that enables us to serialize and deserialize objects with ease. JSON is a lightweight data interchange format. It is easy for humans to read and write. It is easy for machines to parse and generate. Here is a simple example showing one of our school objects in object form and the resulting string after being converted to JSON data format. You can also see that to serialize you're going from the object to the JSON string, and to deserialize you're going from the JSON string to the object. In the above graphic you can see the overall format for how objects are being converted to strings. You can see how the class members are being encoded as bracket, the name of the property in quotes, colon, the value in quotes, with all of the pairs being separated by commas and finishing off with a final end bracket. Here is the sample application. I'm just showing it so that you have an idea of what we're going to finish up with. You can insert, update, and delete schools. Here we are updating a school, and once we click done we can see that it updates. The same goes for deleting and also for inserting. I'm just going to insert a test school here. Give it some sample information. Alright, and once we're done we should see it add in. And there we can see it right up there, Sample University. First thing we're going to do is go to KitaroDB.com, click on Downloads, and go ahead and download the Win32.NET CLR. And then it will go ahead and download. Alright, once installed we're just going to need to add the reference in Visual Studio. You should be able to find it under the .NET tab. And then go ahead and click OK to add it to the project. The first thing we're going to do is add a statement using KitaroDB in order to reference it. Here we are adding the private member for the Kitaro database. The type is database. Now that we have the private member _SDB, we need to initialize this in the model's constructor. The two parameters are file name and the flags. In this case we are going to use dbCreateFlags.supersede, which will replace the database if it already exists. Now that we have created the database, we need to load it with all the schools using the list of schools already populated. We are going to use the insert method since this is a key value store. The first parameter will be string school ID. For the second parameter, we will use the JSON method serialize object to convert the whole object into a string. In the insert new school method, the parameter is a school object and we need to insert it into the database using the KitaroDB insert method. The parameters will be the same as earlier, school.id and the serialized school object. The update method is very similar to the insert method and has the same parameters. In the delete school method, we're going to use the KitaroDB delete method, and the parameter will just be the school.id. We are going to get a tiny bit more complicated now. We are going to create a method that gets all the schools from the database and returns them in an observable collection using a KitaroDB DB cursor. First, we need to create a cursor to iterate the database. The class will be dbCursor, and we will use the KitaroDatabase method seek with dbReadFlags.noLock to return a cursor to the database. We will be using the noLock flags because we are accessing the database for read only. First, we need to move the cursor to the first record in the database using the moveFirst method. Next, in the loop, we are going to add the school the cursor is positioned at to the observable collection by deserializing the string returned by cursor.getString. One of the important things to notice is that the generic type for deserialized object is school. We are telling the deserializer what class the object in this string is. Finally, to iterate the loop, we will just use the cursor's moveNext method to iterate through the database, which will return 0 after the last record and fall out of the loop. Now let's go ahead and build and make sure it works, and then start debugging. Here you can see the list of schools. Let's just make sure all the functions work. Here's update school, and we're going to change some information and make sure it makes it in, which it does. Next, we're going to delete the school and then insert a new school. I'm just going to put in some sample information and then I'm going to click done. This has been a simple demonstration of KitaroDB using KeyValue Store. There are a lot more complicated concepts to go into, and I encourage you to go to the KitaroDB website for further documentation and to download it to try your own projects.